Asian pirate, which role made me a star in across Europe and captured the hearts of viewers across many countries. Fitness is important because ultimately non-fitness leads to illness, and illness leads to lack of energy, and lack of energy leads to bad performances.
Sandokan can be showcased maybe on any OTT platform now.
And we can think about that. Yeah, I've done a Hindi dubbing of it. Michael has this wonderful, dry British sense of humor that lightens everything up. And he's also a very giving actor. This was an incredible star cast, and the story belonged to Michael, Beverly Johnson, and me. A film called Shanti. Hi, I'm Kabir Bedi, and you're watching an exclusive interview with me done by Faridoon on Hungama on my book, Stories I Must Tell, The Emotional Life of an Actor.
As we discussed, we would want to show a few pictures from the book to you, and we would want to have your thoughts on those pictures.
This is me in England, aged 1.5. This was the time when my mother had come to England for the first time in 14 years after she left England, and she'd hoped to come back in time for India's freedom, but India's freedom happened sooner than expected, and she was in England when it happened. But there was me, 1.5 years old, without a care in the world, surrounded by the love of my mother. What more could one ask for? This was the iconic shot of me in Tughlaq, the shot that made the whole of Bombay go, whoa, wow. And in a sense, the shot that launched my career, the play that got all the producers to me. And this was Alec Padamsee's great vision of creating a man that looks almost nude in the beginning of the play, shocking the audience, and having him dressed by royal courtiers, and he turns and speaks to the audience. So this was the great Girish Karnad play that started my career.
Okay, now, so one important thing that comes across in the book, when you have off and on, you have mentioned about your physical exercises. You have mentioned about how you're swimming in the sea and how you swam for this much amount of time and walked. In an interview, I saw that you said that I'm doing power yoga, power walking these days. And for a film, I think in US, you lost around 18 kgs to get into the character. Yeah. So what is the importance of physical fitness for any actor and taking care of their diet?
It's important. It's very important. I must say I'm not a shining example of that because I like my food and I tend to put on a bit of weight. But whenever I have the right motivation, I feel this role needs me to lose weight, I then set about and lose that weight. But in my normal state, I do like my food, and I'm not mad about exercise. I do it because I have to. And after a certain age, there's no way around it. You just have to do it. So I think fitness is important because ultimately, non-fitness leads to illness, and illness leads to lack of energy, and lack of energy leads to bad performances. So fitness is important, but I feel what's equally important is being mentally alert and keeping yourself mentally alert, because we tend to get lazy by force of habit, by thinking along fixed channels. So apart from physical exercise, I think we should always do mental exercises like reading books or solving puzzles or doing things that challenge the mind. Mental exercise is as important as physical exercise.
Maybe reading 7 newspapers every morning.
That too. Yes, now this is a very lovely picture that sums up an age in a sense. It was taken in the early 80s. The foreground is Vinod Khanna, then me, then Mahesh Bhatt, then my second wife, Ishel, and sitting next to her is Pratima, my first wife. And standing between them is Johnny Bakshi, who's one of my closest and most loyal friends in the industry and remained so over the years till he passed away this last year. And I really miss his presence. But this was an example of, the old Juhu gang getting together. Vinod was very much, you can see by his mala, was a follower of Osho and followed Osho later to America, to his ashram in Oregon, and used to come down and see me in Los Angeles when he got tired of being up in the ashram by himself. And Mahesh was also a great follower of Osho. He later moved on from Osho and became a great follower of UG Krishnamurti, another great teacher and philosopher. And what more can I say? It's a wonderful picture to remember. This was a picture of the kind of success that we saw in Italy when I went to Milan to see my parents. That's my father in the middle in the first picture between Parveen and me. That's another very famous actress on the right. Here, and then there's third picture of me waving to fans. The last picture is with a very famous Italian actress called Valentina Cortese and her son, Jackie Basehart. So just one page of memories. There were many such pictures.
No, there are many.
This is being mobbed in Spain. I was actually playing a role in Thief of Baghdad with Roddy McDowell in Spain. And of course, the fans came and surrounded me in mass numbers, and I was signing autographs. Just another picture of fan hysteria in Europe. This is an iconic picture of Sandokan, the Asian pirate, which role made me a star across Europe and captured the hearts of viewers across many countries, starting in Europe and going into South America and Africa as well, and many countries in Asia. It was even shown by Doordarshan in India after I gave it to them for free. But again, they released it without an announcement. But this was what Sandokan looked like, and pirate who fought for the freedom of his country.
So I had one thought. Do you think that Sandokan can be showcased maybe on any OTT platform now?
We can think about that. Yeah, I've done a Hindi dubbing of it. So you could see it in Hindi. It's doable, certainly doable. This is just a picture of me with some of the news and media clippings that happened at the time. As you can see, I'm on the cover of most magazines and in countless newspaper articles. I've lost so many of these pictures, but these few photographs like this remind me of the kind of media frenzy that I saw and experienced when I went to Europe for the first time, as after Sandokan.
All right.
This again is a picture of Sandokan with the leading lady, the British girl he fell in love with, played by Carol Andre. And this was the epic love story that was the heart of the Sandokan saga, because even as he fought the British, he fell in love with an English girl. And this was the central conflict of the series. Great picture, great lady. This is Nikki, who was my third wife. I met her when after I'd divorced my second wife and come to India. In the wake of Poon Bhari Maan, I played Othello on stage, and she was my Desdemona. Both of us cast by Alec Padamsee, and it was the beginning of a wonderful relationship. This picture was taken on a visit to Rome, and we also were together for almost 13 years before she decided to stay in England and I decided to come back to India. This is an epic still from the sets of Ashanti, where I starred with Michael Caine, who you can see standing in the middle. Behind me is Omar Sharif, and behind Michael Caine is Peter Ustinov, and behind Peter Ustinov is Beverly Johnson. This was an incredible star cast, and the story belonged to Michael, Beverly Johnson, and me, a film called Ashanti. And this is a picture I treasure for all time.
So once again, Omar Sharif and Michael Caine, these are legends. Experience of being around them, working with them, how was it?
They were wonderful people because Michael has this wonderful, dry British sense of humor that lightens everything up. And he's also a very giving actor. You know, when you act, you're very dependent on your co-star for your performance, especially in shots that are over-shoulder shots, you know, because you don't see the face of the other actor on camera. You just see only your face is seen. So how giving an actor is depends on how well he does the reaction shots. And for instance, Michael Caine was very generous because he would go out of his way to give you the maximum, even if he was not on camera. Peter Ustinov was a little different. But Omar Sharif, for instance, he was a wildly extravagant man. He had a big heart. He spent a lot of money entertaining friends. He lost a lot of money playing cards. He was a world champion bridge player. And There's legions of stories. He used to love calling people for dinner. And then at this dinner, he'd get bored easily. If he got bored, he'd pick a fight. Then there'd always be a fight every night. But if the conversation was interesting, then he would participate because he was a very intelligent man and he would not tolerate fools gladly. But if you kept him entertained, kept his mind alive, he'd be all ears and contribute 100%. If not, he'd create a fight. So
That's interesting.
idiosyncrasies of great people. And I did 3 films with Omar Sharif, and I have the greatest love and regard for him because he was the pioneering Asian actor that blazed trails to Hollywood ahead of anyone else in Asia.
Absolutely.
I regard him as one of my role models.
Absolutely.
This is a picture of Parveen Babi, Pratima, and me, and this picture alone sums up a lot of things that preceded and followed the things that I write about my book, my relationship with Pratima, how that ended, how my relationship with Parveen began, the dangerous and difficult relationship between the 2 women, and the consequences of that. This picture is a historic, iconic picture and contains a lot more behind it than you see in it. And a lot of that is in my book, Stories I Must Tell. This is a lovely picture of Pooja and my son Siddharth when they were younger. I'd imagine Pooja would probably be around 14 at the time and Siddharth probably around 12. But it's a beautiful picture and I chose to include it in my book because it's a wonderful memory of their childhood. This was a picture of extreme grief following the death of my son and Pratima flying to Los Angeles to be at the funeral. And this is us together at the funeral. There's no grief deeper than that of parents who've lost a child. And that's what we suffered at that time. This is a picture of my wedding with my second wife, Ishel. And we married at the Self-Realization Fellowship, which was set up in Los Angeles on Sunset Boulevard by the great yogi, Life of a Yogi, where the ashes of Mahatma Gandhi are also interred. And it was a beautiful setting, and we wrote our own ceremony, and we had our own ceremony. And it was the place of Yogananda Paramhansa. This is a picture of my wife V, Parveen Dosanjh, and me at the Golden Temple, paying homage to our Sikh roots. She's also Sikh. I come from the Guru Nanak family, and this is paying my respects to my ancestors and to the religious tradition of the great Sikh religion.
Right, and thank you so much, sir, for these wonderful insights.
Hi, I'm Kabir Bedi, and you're watching an exclusive interview with me done by Faridoon on Hungama on my book, Stories I Must Tell, The Emotional Life of an Actor.